All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone who taught me His truth, and a sincere Shalom to the elect out there teaching His truth in all honesty and sincerity in these last days. And this is going to be a walk and talk series, okay? And the topic of today is going to be a discussion about health. Because I've been hearing a lot of brothers put out there that we need to start taking better care of ourselves. And me, I've had my fair share of health kicks. Okay. And it's not just the fact that I've had my fair share of health kicks, I've also had times in the past, especially when I was in the world, where my health was absolutely horrible. Okay. The damage I did to my body between, I would say, the ages of 18 and 25, it literally is a miracle from the Most High that I'm standing here. You know? And I caught some of them health problems well in the truth, and I honestly deserved it. Okay? But I wanted to discuss the topic of health. I want to read this scripture in just a second. All right, there's a bumpy part of the sidewalk. We don't have the best infrastructure here in Western New York. Okay? So we'll get over this crooked sidewalk, and then I'll read this real quick. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus 30 and 14. Better is the poor, okay, which majority of us, in this truth, we're poor, okay? Even brothers that might have a little bit extra, okay? You have to be mindful of because that could be gone. Okay, that could be taken for, okay? Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution, okay? Now you look at ancient men, and what's one of the main things that separates them from the men of today? The men of today are effeminate and weak, okay? Physically, and that affects their mental, okay? Because you can't just be physically weak all the time and expect your mental to be that much stronger. Sometimes you need to take care of your physical side in order to strengthen your mental side, okay? Because when your health is fucked up, it messes your whole thought process up at times, you know? I'm just speaking from experience, okay? As somebody who had kidney problems in the past, blood sugar issues. Hell, I still get blood sugar issues. Almost every time I eat a little cheat snack, I feel my blood sugar get wonky, you know? And I know that there's a lot of brothers that can give a testimony that where when they started taking their health serious, you don't get as much brain fog. The brain thinks faster. Okay, you have more energy. You can process deeper thoughts. Okay, you don't get moody. Continuing on, right? The men of today are all feminine, but the men of today, I mean the men of the ancient men, were a lot physically stronger. Okay, and they ate real food. They didn't have all this garbage that they have available to them. Okay, and the real foods that they ate were of a much higher quality and purity than today's foods. Okay, better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Okay? Because afflictions can jack you up, man. Afflictions can jack you up. Not just your body, I mean, not just your physical side, but your mental side too, your spiritual side. Okay? Because dealing with infirmities can make you impatient at times. Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinity wealth. Okay? So that's even more important than obtaining wealth, having a good state of body. Right? There is no riches above a sound body, no joy above the joy of the heart. Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness. Okay? Especially that sickness that is constantly with you and never goes away. And brothers that have dealt with medical issues will tell you. Okay? It's not a good time. You know? It's not a good time. Heck, there's been brothers in this truth that have dealt with infirmities and, you know, they let their sins weigh them down, okay? Or they let they feel guilty because they know that they could have did more, but their infirmities got in the way, you know? Just like the scriptures say that the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Okay? Now let me scroll down. Ecclesiastes 25, and then the rest of the scriptures I'll just quote. 30 and 25. 24. Envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth age before the time. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet. Okay, so we have to have a care for that, man. We can't be eating like teenagers in this truth. And I also want to touch on alcohol. Okay, because yes, we are allowed to drink. Okay, but especially now, we really can't be getting carried away with that. Okay, we especially can't be getting carried away with that, man, during these times. Because what happens if you drink, like, let's say, I don't know, 3 days a week? You know, there were times in this truth when I drank too much, you know, I'll put that out there. And I wish I didn't. Why? Because it was a lot of time and energy wasted that I could have been focusing on the ministry. Okay, and I know that there's a lot of other brothers that feel and think that way too. Okay, because let's say you drink 3 days a week, right? Even if it's just a few drinks, that's 3 days. That's almost half the week. Okay, that's almost half the week, man. And then when you consider the recovery time, even if you don't get a hangover, you're still not 100% the next day. Okay, you may think in your head that you are, but you're really just filling yourself full of shit, really. Okay, because it takes, when you have just a few drinks, and this has been proven, it takes a day or two to get your body back in its cycles. Okay, it takes a day or two, sometimes three if you drink a lot, for your body to get back to 100%. So if you're drinking a few days a week, okay, you're really man, you're really in a hole. You're in a recovery deficit. Okay? And we need to keep our minds sharp, especially during these last days. And I know that there's a lot of brothers out there that, you know, we know a lot of us came to the truth when we were in our 20s or whatever. Okay? And there were a lot of brothers that, because this truth is a lot to take at times. So a lot on the mental. So you may go and grab the bottle a little too often. I know that there's brothers that would be on a higher level right now if they didn't drink so much early on in the truth. Myself included. Okay? Myself included. Right? And really, if you drink a lot, throws your judgment off and it puts spirits on you, makes you vulnerable to spirits, man. Okay? Well, I'm not going to do this lesson just to harp on alcohol because it's not what it's about. It's about, in general, taking care of yourself. Okay? That's the main thing, is taking care of yourself. And if you try and eat right and exercise and you're drinking too much, you're really limiting the effect and the benefits of that healthy food. Because how the hell are you supposed to get the benefits of a food that may be detoxifying you or making you stronger if you're constantly beating yourself down with bullshit? Okay? And I encourage brothers, man, start. And I notice even Apostle Har's been using the Chat GPT lately. Okay? Or you could use Grok. It's free, right? You just kind of limited the free versions, but they do pretty much a lot of the things that you need them to do. Okay? Utilize them resources for you, man. It's like, fuck Google at this point. These AI things are like super Google. There was in fact, there was an economist that said that he believes that Google's going to end up getting bought up by one of these AI giants because it's just not going to be able to compete. But who knows? We might not even be here that long. But yeah, man, use these resources, man. Like scriptures say, knowledge shall be increased. The longer that we're in the truth, the more technological tools are available. And really, those are gifts from the Most High so that we can learn more and learn faster. And some of the information that they could give you on certain health foods is pretty amazing, man. I've been putting my exercise routines into Chat GPT, comparing my before and afters, and I'm improving every workout. Because I tell it, be mean to me, critique me, blah 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 blah, and it gives me the straight up answers. Okay, and ways to improve. Ways to add variety. It'll link you to stretches if you need certain stretches. Like I have a shoulder issue that I've been dealing with off and on for years. Because I injured it years ago, and it's been helping. Okay, little things like that, man. Or you might be interested in a certain herb. Put it in there, man. You ain't got to sit there and read fucking 25 repeat articles on Google and go 10 pages deep just to find something unique. Nah, it's all right there. That's the advantage of these AI programs. You don't got to sit there Because I know when you do research on Google, right, or Bing or whatever, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, sometimes you'll sit there and you'll have to fucking scroll through 25, 30 different articles just to find one because it's all the same shit over and over and over again. You know? They even have GPTs within ChatGPT, like medical libraries, medical dictionaries, things like that that you can utilize. Collections of millions of studies. You know, you just tell it what you want and it gives it to you. Okay? And even the scriptures, man. You know? And the scriptures say that getting back on the topic of health, that our body is a temple. Let me get that. So I'm in an area where I can don't have to pay much attention. I'm on a flat surface. Go to the NT. I know it's in Corinthians 6 and what is it, 19? First Corinthians 6 and 19. What, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own. So our bodies are a temple and possession of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So we have a duty to take care of our bodies, man, to not pollute ourselves. And a lot of these foods these days, okay, they're designed to make you addicted. You know, they have a lot of cancer causing agents. Oh, and brothers have been posting this, that they're doing a lot less inspections of the food because of the government cuts. Okay? So keep that in mind. And a lot of those inspections are going to be, lack of inspections are going to be from the garbage food, man. So let's say you do eat something that may be slightly poisoned or whatever, or kind of tainted in a way, right? At least if you're healthy, you'll have the immune system to fight it off, man. And if you've been researching the different herbs and different foods, okay, and you start to have the mind of a physician, okay, let's say you do get sick, you'll be able to figure out how to fight it without having to go to the fucking doctor. Okay. Really, we shouldn't be going to these doctors unless it's a last resort, man. Okay, unless it's an absolute last resort, because they're all physicians of no value. Okay, and really, when you get into it, man, a lot of these addictive foods, it just triggers lusts of the flesh. Okay, that's just Babylonian pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Right? Let's this up. I'm not. It's gonna be slow because I'm not trying to stop walking. Got a pretty good heart rate going. Isaiah 47 and 8. Therefore, hear now this: thou that are given to pleasures, as well as carelessly. Right, and a lot of Babylonians here, because the scripture's talking about Babylon. All right, they have this mindset. They're given to pleasures, because this place makes it. It's like a circus full of pleasures, man. You know, convenience store at every corner. It just makes it really easy to give yourselves to pleasures. In fact, let me 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. And those are all spirits that go around in Babylon, not just in the ministry, but outside the ministry. Okay? Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Okay, and how many times did we get on the rear end renegade? Right? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The rear end renegade. Okay? About drinking Coca-Cola on camera and eating fucking Taco Bell and fast food on camera. Come on, man. You in Southern California. You tell me there's no absolutely amazing Mexican spots down there? There's Mexican food down there that you can't get anywhere else in the country, but you're gonna settle for that corporate fucking garbage. That you're gonna settle for that corporate ass garbage. And you got all that money, man. Boasting about all that money you got. Be eating at them 4 and 5 star restaurants, man. Eating fucking Taco Bell on camera. From what your wife said, you ain't even got a job. You so busy. You're that busy to where you got to eat that shit on camera. Okay, that's that American spirit on that man. He's an all-American Israelite, no matter how much he speaks against this place, man. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, petty, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Shai. That's the thing with a lot of these guys, man. They're just loving these pleasures here because it's so easy, right? So easy to access everything. Okay. But part of being a man of the Lord is having the discipline to say no. The word no in this ministry sometimes is your best friend. In fact, I'm going to say a lot of times. Okay? It's, you know, self-control is a great gift. You know, there's been a lot of, I mean, we've seen guys in our camp that had no self-control, man. We had to give them the fucking boot and get away from them. You know, guys that had knowledge too, but they just had no fucking self-control, man. Just all over the damn place. You know, we're coming to them times where shit like that's got to go. If you're like that, you need to be on the outside. In fact, it's been like that. You know, don't nobody want to be around somebody that's wild and disorderly during these days. Don't nobody want to deal with that kind of headache, especially when things get serious. Because you kind of have an obligation to help them out if they're in your camp. Okay, somewhat of an obligation. I'm not saying that every time a brother fucks up, you got to be there and have their back. Because it's not like that for every single situation. Okay. I'm going to get this last scripture and get to the destination. Well, hey, being upset into wine and gluttony, the scriptures talk about that. Let's get there. So how you? Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Proverbs 23 and 21. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe the man with rags. So, you know, that's pretty much what this was about, this lesson. So, with that, I hope you all were edified. Till next time, shalom.